different. I'm not used to doing anything solo, so Bo was out sick tonight, and Brad wasn't home from work, so I just thought I'll hop in and do something real quick because we've got the upcoming race this weekend at Riverside, and I'll kind of take my time here because I know this is a little bit different. I don't know how to work the computer. I don't know how to do the camera stuff. That's all Will. And I just told Will that I was like, well, I'll just do it by myself. You ain't got to come all the way here for this. But anyway, I'm trying to get it to where I can see comments. I'm doing this on my phone too, and I'm trying to figure out how I can see the comments on my phone. But anyway, yeah. So this weekend we've got the race at Riverside coming up. It's called the King of the Ditch, and I got notified last night that I'll be in it as well. I'm going to be driving the Ronnie Howard 44 car. We talked a little bit last night. We were kind of joking. He asked me what size my seat was. I said one that stretched out a little bit. And anyways, but yeah, man, so I'm excited about it. I had the entry list, so it's kind of odd because a lot of these names I haven't recognized. I say a lot, it ain't just a terrible amount, but like one of the ones I've never heard of, Jaden Bowling or Paul Jones. Paul Jones is coming all the way from Wyoming. I saw that. I can't believe somebody coming all the way from Wyoming to run one night, nonetheless. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Cale Thomas was kind of a surprise too. Surprised that Cale, he's going to be driving the 21 car for Meredith Racing. Let's see. Of course, we got Derek. He's going to be the favorite. Connor Ray, Corey Ray. Morgan Turpin, she's coming for this deal. Marshall Skinner, of course, and Cody Howard. I haven't seen Cody in a while. I don't believe he's run with us some. Maybe he has. I just missed him. Hannah Merritt, of course, Dale Howard will be there. Brad's going to be in the 8X. Ernie Ainsworth, Jan Howard's going to be in a second car for Dale. Gage Laney, he's an Oklahoma guy. He's going to be out here this weekend. Of course, Bradley Vizard in the 938. He's usually pretty fast. And Braden Taylor. So that's the one so far that I've seen. I haven't heard of any more yet, but we still got a few days. It's not looking too good at the moment. We've got chance of showers tonight and tomorrow. It's going to be pretty heavy tomorrow, so I'll be anxious to see if this even happens this week. More than likely, I feel like it's going to get moved, but it is what it is. But either way, but yeah, Ronnie and I talked for a little bit, and I was kind of excited. So I'm going to bring him some Scooby snacks for just to show my appreciation, I guess, for giving me a chance to go play. But yeah, we didn't have a lot to talk about. There's not really a lot that happened this past week. You know, a couple things happened, like the USAC race. Justin Grant catching a lot of crap from Kevin Thomas, and the guys at Moose Racing made a little comment in one of his interviews about about staying safe from the 4 car. And you know, I can't really remember a time when I thought Justin Grant was like a dirty driver. So that was kind of news to me. But apparently his competitors think otherwise. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The Zeb Wise interview, Brad and I were talking a little bit about this. You know, Zeb has been out of the car for quite a while now. He got fired from Rudy Racing, driving the 26 car, and after he was very successful. I know his 2024 season wasn't just the greatest, but you know, they still did win a race, and but him getting fired. But Jeremy Elliott had an interview with him the other day, and made some interesting comments. I think Jeremy had asked him the question like, you know, do you see yourself racing again? Or, you know, if you had to quit today, would you be happy, essentially? Like, would you be okay with it? And he he actually said, yeah, it kind of surprised me. He said that he would be good with that. And, you know, and he's only 22. He has accomplished a lot. Won outlaw races, won the All Star Championship. You know, he's done a lot of pretty cool things in a short amount of time. You know, he's only raced, I think he said 4 full time years in 410 sprint cars. So like, he did accomplish a lot. Won at Port Royal. I mean, that's not an easy place to go win at in a 410. But I did think it was an interesting take. You know, he said that he would be content if he never raced again. He enjoyed his job. I think, and two, he was talking a lot about the Tyler Courtney wreck at Eldora and what that done to him. And you know, I think a lot of people after Eldora kind of started looking at sprint cars a little differently. And I've been saying for a lot this year that I think that the sprint cars have gotten a lot faster, they're driving a lot better, and therefore guys are getting more aggressive. You know, and I think that maybe that plays a little bit into a factor. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I know I will say it does kind of play a little bit of a factor for me. It is kind of concerning, the state of sprint car racing when it comes to safety. I know that we've made some improvements on the seat and the chasm and whatnot, but explain to me how we've got multiple drivers injured in wrecks at Eldora. You know, so I do think it's played into a lot of people's heads, and I think it went into. I really believe Eldora is the reason that Brad Sweet isn't going to be racing full time anymore. So, you know, and he had a lot left in him, and he's still going to be part time. I'm not saying he's done, and but you know it played a big part in him retiring from full time racing. I promise you, it went into his head. He's got a lot of businesses, got a lot of things going on, and he wants to be able to take care of those things. He doesn't want to be, injured or have anything long lasting that keeps him from running his everyday life. And, I've had a lot of those thoughts this year myself. That wreck that I had at Peevely really opened my eyes up a little bit. My buddy Paul Nienheiser is a good friend of mine. I talked to him quite a bit. He couldn't work. He was sitting on the couch a lot with a broken back, and he couldn't do nothing. And and really cool story about that though is he did get back in a car and went out and won races this past couple weeks. So he's recovered pretty well. Seems to be doing pretty good. But it does make you think a little bit. So I can see where that would make Brad want to reconsider doing it full time. But I don't know. I don't know what Zeb's future is. But he was also talking about, like, he's very picky about what rides he's in. And, talking about how he won't just take anything. But I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that I would just sit out and wait for, he was talking about maybe driving the 1A car. He had conversations with Bobby Allen and Jacob about driving the 1A car. And, not those rides don't just pop up all the time. I say that, and there's been more silly season this year than ever. But, I don't know if you stay out of the car if you're going to be at the top of anybody's list, if you're not in it, not around it, or anything like that. So I don't totally agree with that approach, but we'll see how it works out for him, I guess. He can wheel. He can get in at any time. I think he's done it enough now. He's raced long enough now that he's not gonna be real rusty if he gets back in the car or anything like that. Kind of like me, I feel pretty confident when I've been out for several months and I hop in somebody like Ronnie's car or Mr. Bobby's car or whatever. I'm confident enough in myself that I can get in a car too and do what I've always done. But I don't know. We'll see how it works out for him. A couple other things. Dason Persley is going to go the 9 car for next year in KKR. So Brad was right about that. Apparently, bad kept secret. I didn't know about that secret last week till Brad said something, but good. What else? Here, like I said, it really wasn't a lot. Donnie Schatz still hasn't confirmed anything for next year, and kind of like the Zeb thing, there's really not any good rides open. So like Donnie's future's still kind of up in the air a little bit. Heard rumors going around that he may retire, may call it be done. There's still talks too that Big Game's still going to do 2 cars. So we'll see which one happens. But I kind of feel like if he doesn't race for Big Game, he's probably going to be done or sit this one out or what. I don't know. But I know he's. I feel like he's just hanging on in the 7 car for Jason, and nothing against Jason. I like Jason, but I mean Jason doesn't have what Donnie's used to, the best of the best stuff all the time. So he's just trying to survive, finish out the year with that deal. I think he's still fighting for 6th in points, and he can still lose that. But so Donnie's future's still up in the air a little bit. Hoosier Tire did a new test, trying to change up. Maybe look at changing up the tire for maybe 2026, maybe 2027. Don't have a lot of information on that yet. I just know there's been some tire testing happening. That we went to the D tire, and I can't remember what year it was. And I wish I could see comments, because somebody in the comments can tell me. I need Will here. I need Will because he's my tech guy, and I don't know half of what I'm doing. I barely know how to hit record. But anyway, we went to the D tire. I want to say it was 2022, and there's no camera in the tire, but you could. They kind of looked at it as maybe like a savings deal, maybe to save the team's money, because you could run the tire one way, dismount it, turn around and run it the other way, and get some more use out of it. And it didn't. I don't think it really worked as well as they'd hoped. But I mean, when your tires are $360 a piece, you're not really saving a lot of money. I mean, the cost of racing is so astronomical at this point that, and something that Brad and I had talked about on some previous episodes, it's like, the cost of racing has gotten so bad, so out of hand that, like, the little guys like us can't survive. My car's been in there parked just on the other side of this wall. It's been parked since whenever the Queen's Royal was. I think that was August 23rd. So, and it's just done got to be so much that we just had to, pump the brakes and park it, because we can't afford to keep going. I mean, I remember when I started racing sprint cars in 2012, that it was like $6,000, $7,000 was bad. That means you had to have a lot of work done, had to replace a lot more. But 7,000 was a big number back in 2012 to freshen an engine, and now you're talking more than double that now for 410 engines, 360 engines. It's gotten so out of hand that small guys like us can't compete. And I'm not complaining. I mean, it is what it is. But the wealthier guys can shell it out and pay for it, and it is what it is. Money's always tough to beat. But I do hope that we can help. Like, I know the wing thing was supposed to help save money, but that one week that article come out about you can only run this wing for the whole, but it has to run the whole night, and only ASCS was the one that done it. It's not like any other series that I know of has done it. But I'm hoping that we can do something to get the cost down on these race cars, because it is hurting us. And there's been good guys around here that aren't racing anymore because they just got outpriced. They're cooked. Cost too much. But tires and engines are hurting us the most. But a friend of mine, he just recently went from late models to sprint cars. I've actually got his sprint car down there at the powder coating shop, the powder coat. And he was telling me uh, last Sunday when he dropped it off, he's like, man, these cars are so much cheaper than what I'm used to. And, he was excited because of the prices of the parts, essentially. And I'm thinking, man, maybe, maybe it's not so bad in the sprint car world, not as bad as we thought. But I mean, the price of everything's going up, and the cost of living's going, everything's going up. So we're all hurting, but it does hurt, and it doesn't help too. And I'm not, this isn't at anybody in particular, any tracks in particular, but the payouts aren't any different than they were, 30 years ago. Back then you could make it a little bit better. You could take your race winnings and maybe roll it over into the next race where it wasn't so bad. But these days, even this weekend, that 5,000 win race, yes, that's good. That is great compared to most 360 races. 360 racing doesn't pay normally, from what I can see, any more than $2,000, $3,000. I think ASCS National Tour, if I'm not mistaken, they're probably what, $4,000 most nights, maybe 3,500, maybe some five. I'm not sure, but we don't get a lot of those. You don't really see a lot of those. Every $10,000 show pop up every once in a while. But even if you're winning those, occasionally you're still not going to be in good shape. You have to have help, or you already have to be a millionaire. The joke in racing for as long as I've been around has been, if you want to be a millionaire in racing, you need to start out being a billionaire. So I mean, you're not gonna make money racing. I mean, the only way you make money racing is if you already have the help, or you're already wealthy. So I do hope that maybe Hoosier will get their crap together, and we can maybe save a little money on these tires. I personally, I wish the tire was hard as a brick and it would last us a while, and it'd be harder to get the car hooked to the racetrack. A, you'd slow the cars down. B, I think we'd be passing more because we'd be out of the throttle more. But Hoosier's not going to sell tires that way. They need them to burn up a little bit. So there's a fine line there. I remember we went to Lake Ozark. When did we? I think it was 2023, if I'm not mistaken. We went to Lake Ozark in the 360s. We're running the RD tire, which is a softer tire than the D. And they were running faster lap times than we were. And we're talking probably 200 horsepower difference between the 360 and the 410. And they were running faster times than we were. But when we would get up there on the cushion, I just remember it's almost like we were on a razor's edge, and everybody was trying not to, throw the front end over the cushion, because I mean, you'd get up there and it would just it just wouldn't ride the cushion at all, and it would just kind of like try to throw the front end over that cushion, and but the 360s, man, they just squatted and just went right through that thing like it was no problem. So I do think that if they can bring a tire that was really hard, it would help the racing all around. In general, and I think slowing the cars down, more out of throttle time, would produce a lot more passing, and I think it would help a lot personally. But I don't know, it's kind of hard. I would like to know Brad and Bo's opinion, but anyway, and maybe others. Like this was kind of last minute. I had to throw this together. I found out at like 6:15 that nobody was coming. So anyway. So that I heard about that coming up. I did want to kind of give a shout out to Chase Howard. Chase is running the ARCA race this weekend. I'm excited for him. We did a little iRacing the other night. We text back and forth, and we got in a little session there at Michigan and just playing around. But I'm excited for him. I asked him how many people have donated, because he's the Chase Howard Racing page has put out $20 you get on the deck lid of the race car, races at Phoenix for championship weekend and whatnot. And I asked him how many people had done it, and he said, I think 10 at the time. I'm like, you've only gotten 10 people, $20? You kidding me? I was excited when he put the post out. I sent him $20 right away, and I said, make sure you put Let Her Eat Podcast right across the back of that deck lid. But I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see how he does this weekend. And the last thing I wanted to bring up real fast was the lawsuit. A lot of people, it surprises me how many people don't know about the lawsuit with NASCAR and the teams. And the reason I wanted to bring that up with Chase and NASCAR is because it kind of transitions a little bit. You know, a lot of people don't. Here's how I take this. Again, this is my opinion, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like this is a lot more than just NASCAR. I feel like this could help a lot of forms of racing. You know, if the teams mess around and win this lawsuit against NASCAR, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, 2311 and Front Row are suing NASCAR basically for being a monopoly. You know, they own like half the racetracks, and you know, teams have to go to NASCAR to buy parts, get components for their cars, and you know, TV gives teams so much money, they give tracks so much money, and they give NASCAR so much money. Well, when NASCAR already owns half the tracks, they're also getting money from the teams to pay for the cars. Kind of seems like a monopoly. It makes sense to me anyway. But you know, if 2311 and Front Row were to mess around and win this thing, and you know, they're talking about trying to settle and whatnot, the trial's supposed to come up December 1st. If they don't settle, if they don't come to any kind of settlement. But you know, like this weekend, I'm hoping that Denny wins the championship, because I would love to see the guy that's suing NASCAR for becoming a monopoly win the whole thing. And you know, just would be a really funny middle finger to him. But you know what that would mean though is that if teams were able to get more of the TV money, they could actually go out and find the talent. So let's say Chase was to go out to Phoenix this weekend, and I don't know a realistic goal of this car or team. I don't know compare his car compared to others. I don't know if anything's off. It may be great, it may not be. I don't know. Again, this is all outside speculation of what I can tell. From what I can tell, it's not a top running car, right? But let's just say that somebody like Joe Gibbs watches the ARCA race, and they know what the 31 car is capable of, and they watch Chase, and you're like, you know, that guy took a 28th place car and finished 13th with it. That's pretty amazing, you know, because they're watching closely. If they have the money, if they are able to pay or look for someone to put in a race car, and they have that ability to do it, then they can pay more attention to that. Instead of going out trying to find somebody that has the money, they can take a look through the field. And you know, if somebody like Chase was to go out this weekend and run that well, somebody like Joe Gibbs could go, you know what? We should give that guy a shot. We should take a look at him. We should talk to him. We should do something. You know, so I'm rooting really hard, and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about NASCAR on here. It's all about the dirt stuff, but the reason I say all this too is that I said that this may be bigger than NASCAR. Like, I worry about the future of sprint car racing as well. Like, I worry about, you know, there's already a lot of bought rides in dirt racing now. I mean, look at KKM, Keith Coons Motorsports. I mean, every one of those has some kind of rich dad, or they're backed by Toyota or whatever, just because of somebody they know, which it's just the way the world works. But, you know, what if KKM could go out and find drivers to put in their cars? Or what if there was more, like the high limit teams, for instance, like say Casey Kane. These are all, like I said, this is all just examples. Not saying this is how it works, but I'm going to say, I mean, Casey probably I'm gonna say he went after Brad Sweet anyway. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say Brad didn't bring anything, and he might have. I don't know. I don't know. But let's say that Casey Kane wanted to go out and find somebody that's not looking for funding. Like, it's the same thing for them. High Limit's going to have it to where these teams are making a lot more money. And so, like, if dirt racing is headed in that direction, then maybe um, we can avoid the same fate that NASCAR's had or, been having for years, where these teams can actually go out and make money and can put people in cars that deserve to be in there. It's not my place to say who doesn't or does deserve to be in a ride. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm hoping to see that. I'm really hoping to see the teams win this thing personally. But anyway, that's really all I got. Like I said, I knew this would be short and sweet with the guys not being here. Hate that. But we are still wanting to do some interviews. I've talked to a few people about doing some interviews over the next coming weeks and into December because, things are kind of slowing down a little bit. Hopefully next week we can have everybody in here. It'd be a normal show. We'll talk about if the races happen this weekend at Riverside, we can talk about what happened. But I'm excited. I'm really thankful for Ronnie. Oh, quick shout out to Bo and Will Hadley, my parents, Hannah, Bo's wife. Little Bear came. A lot of people came from my 30th birthday was on Sunday. We had like a little after church. We came up here to the shop and just played cornhole, ate some food, and had a good time. And I had a really awesome birthday. So 30's off to a good start. Maybe not podcast wise, but 30's off to a good start. But I did have a good day, and I appreciate everybody that reached out and for all the birthday wishes and whatnot. But that's all I got right now, guys. But I appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, I know this wasn't normal. I barely know how to do this. I need to take more time and figure out all the stuff that Will does. But anyway, like I said, it's kind of last minute. But I appreciate you guys. This will be posted up on all the socials and whatnot. But I will see you guys next week. Hopefully I can turn this off, or we're going to have a really awkward moment here. Yeah, end streaming. All right, see you guys.